Hi, everyone. My name is Nimrod Vromen. The last 14 months have been a roller coaster ride for me personally. I've spent first 4 months in reserves duty in several units that were actually mentioned here, and also as an ambassador for my UAV unit in Israel. I've spent 3 visits in London, 2 in Australia as an ambassador for that activity. It was always comforting to see Izar and his family every time during these trips, and to be reminded of why we're doing this and why we're putting the effort back into Israel amidst all the turmoil that we're all going through. And I've also started a startup company over the last 14 months after being a corporate lawyer for 16 years. And to tell you about that startup company, I have to tell you first about those first 16 years. And those 16 years were a representation of 650 startup companies through their entire life cycle, from idea to fruition or to liquidation, providing a professional service. There was something that I was witnessing over this 16-year period that caused sort of a burning inside, like an understanding that change was coming without really understanding what that change was going to be. And how do I change slides here? Okay, great. Sure. To explain to you where this change is coming from, I'd like to address the professional service market as a whole. And the professional service market is sometimes presented as a world where consultants provide their time and advice to their clients, but in reality, they provide a deliverable, much like a factory, and that deliverable is a document. I've never had a client walk in just to, shoot the crap about confidentiality. They always wanted an NDA, right? I've never had founders come in to discuss the philosophics of opening a company. They wanted a founder's agreement. And what I discovered was, over the years of my professional service, was that there is a diminishing value to that deliverable. Their expectation was once that I'd go into my library and check proprietary templates of my grand law firm, and over time they expected me to search for those templates on Google. And then in 2015, they took away the financing round documents by arriving at our firm with a signed safe agreement from Y Combinator's website. Think about that for a moment, what we would charge for that in the past. And then the large language models came out. And for me, I realized, having seen entrepreneurs, having witnessed disruption over the years, that this was the biggest technological revolution I'd seen in my entire career. And I knew that it would affect our professional service world. In fact, it would change it at its core. Now, what do professional service firms do to deal with the diminishing value of their service deliverable? Well, they're not very well equipped for this battle. They're hinged on long career paths. Interns, paralegals, they have to learn for years before they can be experts. How are you going to educate them when they are letting the LLM do most of the work? The partnership structure of most firms disincentivizes them from investing in new technologies really. They will say that they do, but they're probably doing about a fifth to a tenth, or a tenth to a fifth of what they should be doing. And they also have a one-stop shop Achilles heel. They wanted to capture large business clients over the years, so they offered ancillary services to the core corporate and commercial and contract services, which are litigation, regulation, real estate, etc. Those partners are less inclined to invest portions of their equity in new technology because their systems are a bit slower and they still have time to profit off of their clients, and it's totally natural. Now, when you think about this market from an economic perspective, supply and demand perspective, and you look at the hourly business model, you can see that bankers, management advisory, boutiques, and now I'm going way out of legal here for a moment, they can still get a lot of consumer surplus. They can still charge above the competitive equilibrium. But US corporate law firms, and I'm also guessing that UK corporate law firms, when it comes to smaller clients that will be within 3 or 4 years their large clients that they want, it's starting to get hard to profit on those first contracts. And they might lose the relationship to service providers like me, who don't mind to slum it. That's how I built my career in Israel. And this is a war. And a war that a professional service provider has lost in the past. The auditors. They lost it when email and Excel came out in the late 90s. And when they lost it, they first turned to crime. Well, I'm dramatizing a little bit, but you can see it on the slide. Then markets crashed and we went into regulation. Sarbanes-Oxley and updates to GAAP and IFRS. When regulation was updated, they did what every firm in a highly competitive market does. They consolidated. And now we say Big Four all over the world like it was always the case. It wasn't always the case. So we have to go to them. Then they optimize their P&L, and then they diversify. Now when you walk into Ernst & Young and Deloitte, they're no longer presented as auditing firms. They provide a slew of services, some of which already trickle into the legal, compliance, GDPR. I believe that this is where we're going. I believe that the large language models are the flood that email and Excel was to the auditors in the late 90s. And Israeli law firms who have been charging $250 a pop since 2008, no matter what they tell you, they're at the forefront of this war. So that's where the change is going to come from. How can lawyers fight back on the technology that is disrupting the text-based professional service? Well, perhaps as a result of a midlife crisis or my time in the war or I don't know what, I gave my equity back. I partnered with my firm to open a consulting firm called Consiglieri and just been selling the ancillary service for millions of dollars above the legal service over the last 3 years. That's Consiglieri. And learning to automate the MOs that would then be implemented into the AI agents that are within ARC, the new company that we have founded about 7 months ago. I don't think that fighting back is an option. Consolidation, law firms won't do it rapidly enough. There's too many regulatory hurdles, and the partnerships don't really operate that way. You'll see some mergers. My firm merged with another big firm in Israel last year. It took a year to change the name. Diversification of services, well, there are regulatory limitations, but I'm actually confident that London might lead here with the alternative business structure. And internal adoption of AI, I welcome a conversation about how effectively that's going in reality and how it's enabling you not only to automate the preparation of your documents, but also to capitalize on your networks and provide the ancillary business services that slowly will become more valuable to the client than the actual documents themselves. At ARC, we've taken a different approach, an ambitious approach, and I'd like to discuss it with you outside as we're raising money. We're $350,000 in, we're raising up to about 2.5 in order to own consiglieries, including the first consigliere with all of its revenues and clients in Israel. And basically the way that we're going about it is the following way. We believe that the professional service client has two mindsets. Either they operate you through their CEO and board during strategic transactions that occur once in their life cycle and recur hundreds of times the same way in their industry. And it doesn't really matter what industry. We're starting in the startup industry, because it's Israel, it's a good early adopter industry for us. Either they do that, and then they want the partner, they want the business expert, the transaction expert. It could be a banker, it could be a partner at a law firm. It could be an ex-venture capitalist who's doing it solo. That's a place where the human stays in the loop, and it's a sort of renaissance for the boomers in that sense. Or they procure ongoing services in between deals, employment agreements, lease agreements, commercial agreements, etc. They don't care who you use there. They feed the pyramid, the professional service pyramid during that time in between deals, and we all know that. And what we're building in ARC is different arcs for this flood. A collaborative arc for consiglieries, for transaction experts, for the partners at law firms to work with their clients on all facets of an automated transaction, and small ongoing ARCs, where ARC engages the client directly and sells SaaS. That's what we're doing right now. That's what we need the capital for. That's what I'd hope to discuss with you after this talk. So thank you very much, and enjoy.